Hey everyone, welcome back to Engelbard. I'm gonna have to skip the usual pleasantries because we don't have a lot of time. At the end of 2020, I did a video about the new, modern, and retro gaming tech that had been released up to that point, as well as talked about the upcoming 2021 retro and modern gaming tech. So, as of September 2021, how have things fared?
Not well.
That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but not really. Allow me to elaborate, but I'm not going to waste your time by having you sit there for a half hour while I ramble on about these things. No, I'm going to push myself to the max and give you all the information you need in under 10 minutes.
That's impossible!
Well, thanks for the vote of confidence, Luke. Anyway, I'm going to break things down into 4 categories. First, we're going to talk about single-board computers and TV boxes. After that, we're going to move on to indie portable systems. After that, we're going to look at indie console systems, and then we're going to finish things off by looking at mainstream consoles and portables. Oh my god, the clock's been running this whole time! I better get started! I like small, cheap, single-board computers. Things like the Raspberry Pi 4 and the earlier models. Over the last few years, there have been a bunch of competitors to the Pi, running on a range of different systems on a chip, or SoCs. In 2021, the Pi 4 is now over 2 years old, and we haven't seen a real new model yet, only the Pi 4 repackaged in a few different ways. Now the Pi 4 is still great and absolutely still worth owning if you're buying one today, but still, it's been 2 years, it'd be nice to see something new, wouldn't it? And the competitors? They've mostly stuck to the S905X family chips and the Rockchip 3566s for new SBCs and Android TV boxes this year. The big problem here is that prices for those competitors have basically gone up while performance, well, hasn't. So this year's meager crop of SBCs and plentiful crop of TV boxes have been disappointing. I did recently pick up an Intel-powered Rock Pi X single-board computer, so I will do a video or two on that one pretty soon. Overall though, 2021 has been a giant bust for the once burgeoning SBC market. We are at a point where new single-board computers are more expensive and perform worse than old ones. Alright, let's see how I'm doing on time here. I love me some indie portables. Years ago I got a GPD G5A and later a GPD XD, and I love those things. Last year I picked up the Odroid Go Advance, which at $80 or so was less powerful than those older GPD devices, but it was a cool kit where you had to assemble the whole thing yourself. The performance of its Rockchip 3326 SoC was okay, but nothing special. The screen resolution was a little weird, but overall it was an interesting device if nothing else. Well, apparently almost every indie device manufacturer in China decided to release a clone of the Odroid Go Advance. There are a lot of devices using the same exact hardware, but come pre-assembled with nicer cases, different button layouts, and things like that. Most of them still use the same OSs that you could use on the Odroid Go Advance, and have performance that is basically identical to the original Odroid Go Advance, so I've had no real interest in covering those things. The other big clone category are devices using the JZ4770 CPU. In this category you'll find systems like the Ambernic 350s and GKD 350s and a whole bunch of others. Do you like paying over $100 for systems that are less powerful and worse at emulation than stuff released years ago? And these are for you. Then we have the other end of the spectrum, the Windows-based portable consoles and computers from companies like GPD and their various iterations of the GPD Win, the Aya Neo, and more. These seem to be primarily for rich people and tech YouTubers who get them for free, because some of these things cost up to like $1,200. Would I like one? Yeah, sure. Will I buy one? Coming up this year, we've got a promising new challenger from Ain, or Ein, or however you pronounce that. They're going to release their Odin handheld Android-based system. It'll be released in 3 different models ranging from about $165 to $250. The light model has a different CPU and GPU, but it is still a giant step up from most of the cheap devices from the last year or so, and I'll cover this device more soon. Okay, the indie console scene. Here I'm going to talk about the Polymega, the Atari VCS, the Intellivision Amico, and the Evercade Verse or VS or whatever it is. As of this recording on September 4th, 2021, Polymega swears the Polymega is coming out on September 12th for realsies this time. So in theory, soon you'll be able to drastically overpay to use the same emulators you can already use on your computers, phone, Raspberry Pi, and other devices. It's $450 for the base model now. As a concept, I think the Polymega is great. As a product at that price, well, they can just go f*** right off. The Atari VCS. People really love this thing for some reason, even though it's also overpriced shit. The company that calls itself Atari these days wants you to spend $400 on a game system that's also kind of a computer that has pretty much no original games on it. Everything you can play on it you can already play on a modern computer or most modern game systems. But if you just want to have it sit around and look pretty and have $400 to waste before tax, knock yourself out, you can buy one now. The Intellivision Amico is up next. There are so many people that are weirdly passionate both for and against the Amico, a system that is still not out, and at this point probably won't see a major release until sometime next year. People who hate it think I love it, and people who love it think I hate it. The truth is, I'm interested in it, because unlike the prior two systems I discussed, the Amico is actually doing something different and will have some unique games. It might be terrible, it might be great, I just don't know at this point. Although the vectorized animation in a lot of games and the performance we've been seeing isn't super encouraging. Still, since this thing has new games on it, I'd actually have to try it to fairly judge it. Finally, in this category, we've got the Evercade VS versus whatever, which is coming out at the start of November this year for a very reasonable $100. I can get behind this. It's got plenty of games already, and not just the classics. There are a bunch of games from the indie scene on multiple platforms, which give this device a pretty unique purpose. It's an inexpensive, legit way to play these games on modern hardware. I really respect what Evercade has done here. Okay, just a few minutes left, gotta hurry. I'm not gonna make it, am I? The PlayStation 5 came out last year. I got a PS5 last year because my PS4 broke, and buying a new PS4 Pro was only $50 less than a full PS5, so I said, F it, managed to snag a PS5. It's sleek, it's powerful, it has a fantastic controller. It's bigger than Mount Everest, and it also has no big exclusive games right now. Its most anticipated titles, like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok, are coming in 2022. And Final Fantasy XVI, yeah, maybe we'll get that on PS5 by the time the PS6 comes out. Despite the lack of big exclusive games, Sony has at least given some pretty high-quality games away as part of PS Plus this year, like the PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake. They've also released a bunch of 60 frames per second patches for a slew of major PS4 titles on PS5. But they still haven't put out a patch for the updated digital version of The Last Guardian. Come on, Sony! Next up we have the Xbox Series S and Series X. I don't have them because I already have computers and a PS5 and I rarely play any online games. The Series S seemed like a great deal at $300 when it came out, but literally everybody I know that bought one regrets it and wish they had gotten the Series X instead. On the flip side, I guess it's a decent dedicated TV emulation machine. For the Series X, it's basically in the same boat as the PS5, as there haven't really been any must-have major exclusives for the system at this point in its life. The biggest one coming this year is Halo Infinite, slated for December 8th. If you're a Halo fan, yeah, you'll probably like it. If you aren't, you probably won't. Personally, I don't really care about Halo. Okay, Nintendo Switch. The Switch, like the other major systems, has been light on new releases this year. But hey, Metroid Dread is coming in October, so it'll probably end up with the biggest games of the year. Everyone expected the Switch Pro to be announced before E3 this year, but Nintendo said, F you, here's a new 2.5D Metroid instead. Shortly afterwards, they announced the Switch OLED Edition. It has the exact same computing power as the original Switch, but has a slightly larger screen, a few more ports on the base, and a better kickstand. They also added $50 more to the price on top of the already overpriced Switch. So, no, I won't be buying this. There are rumors that have reached a fever pitch right now that a new Xenoblade Chronicles is about to be announced in less than a week, and that the game is going to come out in 2021. And if that actually happens, well, between that and Metroid Dread, the Switch will have crushed it this year. Okay, last thing for this video, the Valve Steam Deck. Yeah, quantities will be limited, but, quantities were limited on the PS5 and Series X at the end of last year. So Valve looked at the up to $1,200 prices on some of the portable Windows gaming machines and said, F that, here's something with better specs for $400. Of course, the Steam Deck has multiple models, with the most expensive going for about $650. Valve has yet to have a giant hardware success up to this point, but the Steam Deck is really primed to be their big break into the hardware business. Quite a few people have had their hands on and tested this thing already, and it's really looking like the holy grail for portable PC gaming at a relatively affordable price. Okay, where's the clock? Yes, I did it! Take that, everyone who said I couldn't do it, which was exactly nobody! Anyway, obviously I couldn't cover all of the gaming tech from 2021. That would be a much longer video. I just wanted to touch on everything that I typically would cover on the channel normally. So tell me, what are your thoughts on gaming tech in 2021? Are you happy with the state of things? Do you think they could have been better? Are you very disappointed? Tell me all about it in the comments. And that'll bring us to the close of another video, my retro and current gaming friends. If you enjoyed the video, please toss it a like and share it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll know the instant that more retro and current gaming goodness is available. With that, I'll say thanks for watching, and see me later.